What's going on, people? Welcome to another Create Your New Life, powered by Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. I am your host, broker, CEO, Michael G. Davis, and welcome to another session with us today. I am excited, as always, to be with you. So whether you are checking us out on our YouTube channel, somebody sent you the video, they emailed it to you, or whether you got it on a post, I don't know how you got it. But whatever way you got it, I'm saying thank you for your time, your attention, and welcome taking part with us today on our Create Your New Life. So, we are always looking for individuals to join our band. So if anything stands out to you and you want to know more, there's going to be an opportunity for you to schedule an online or in-person company introduction. I'll be showing that here at some point as well, so we can do that. Now, we do have one of our agents, Valerie. Looks like she's going for a walk or something. I don't know what she's doing, but she's on board with us. And our agents are able to ask questions, make comments. You know, I may pull her in and ask her something and say, hey, Val. So that may happen, but we love to have them be a part, and we may have some chime in at some point as well. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead, and I always like to start off with giving everyone an opportunity of where they can find us if they want to follow us. So like I said, we're on YouTube. I think that's the best place for you to get a great view or idea of who we are as a company on our YouTube channel. So subscribe to that. But we do have a Facebook business page. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, all of that stuff. So, and we post great content on all of those platforms on a consistent basis. So I highly encourage you to, if you're not following us on social media, follow us. You'll get stuff to like, you'll learn, and you'll definitely have an opportunity to share with others. Now, I spoke earlier about our setting up an online or in-person company introduction. Look, you know, every week we do this. The biggest takeaway with Brooks & Davis versus any other brokerage firm is that our one-on-one coaching is included, and it's true one-on-one coaching. So if that's something that you feel like you need, or you're just looking to join a brokerage firm that puts their money where their mouth is as far as leading you to your success, then I highly encourage you, click on that link, schedule an online or in-person company introduction, and learn more about what we have to offer. Very highly encourage you to do that. All right, and then also through our providership, the Brooks & Davis Continuing Education Institute, our agents are able to get an hour of CE credit. So with that being said, just like Valerie was on, she was logged on, as long as our agents do these 4 things, then once it's said and done, they're going to get an hour of CE credit that can go towards renewing their license and their elective credits. So that's another one of those things that we're glad that we can offer as a brokerage firm to our agents that they can take advantage of. All right, so with that being said, our title today is Quickly Establishing Rapport is Important in Any Negotiation. So as you all know, we're in our series around Never Split the Difference. Unfortunately, I don't have the book with me today because it's actually at my office. The corporate the team is working on preparing for subsequent sessions. So I don't have the book to show you, but it is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. We started the series last Tuesday. So if you go to episode 127, then you'll get to see a cover of the book if you need to. But it's Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It by Chris Voss. So today we're going to be talking about one of the first couple of techniques Remember, this thing, the way that he approaches it is about psychological tactics and strategies to deal with the emotional state around. So this thing is deep, right? It ain't that surface level of engagement or negotiation. This gets down to the core of who we are as human beings to help us be more effective in getting the results that we need for our clients. So today we're going to be talking about one of the first couple of tactics when it comes to that. Last week was just more of an overview about what the book is about. So today we're going to be doing that. We're also going to be talking about Brooks and Davis's biggest mountain to climb, like our big, hairy, audacious goal, what we're chasing after. We're also going to look at some special coaching sessions that our realtors have access through. So we're going to talk about that because, again, our one-on-one coaching is included, right? I don't know about these other brokerage firms out here. A matter of fact, I do know that it ain't included. So ours is. And also, I have a very special announcement, breaking news that I'm going to announce on today about something that's phenomenal. I think it's a great marker for Brooks and Davis as well as for me personally. So I wanted to share that with my Create Your New Life audience first. So we're going to be doing that. And then we're also going to be talking about a beautiful home on an exclusive corner, one of our agents' properties that's in the City Park Master Plan community. So all of that we're going to be dealing with. So we got a jam-packed session. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, the quote that I had attached has to deal with love, and it's by Monica Zanz, which is actually a coach. They're a coach. Look at that. I didn't know that. They're a relationship coach. So the complete quote is, love is one of the most powerful healing tools in the universe, right? So that's what the complete quote is. Love is one of the most powerful healing tools in the universe. Most people forget to use it to build rapport. I thought it was a good quote for today because we're going to be talking about building rapport. So she continues, most people forget to use it to build rapport, to deepen their relatedness, and to mend the upset that underlies disagreement and expectation. Sprinkle more love and you will heal only 100% of the time. Right? So that's a great quote to take into when we're having our negotiations, because as we're going to learn today, building rapport, building trust, deepening the relatedness to where they can relate is really a key when it comes to being effective negotiators. So I thought that was a great quote. Again, she's a relationship coach. Her name is Monica Zanz, Z-A-N-D-S. That's where I got, and her first name is M-O-N-I-K-A. So that may even be Monica. All right, so I thought that was great to share. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump into our moment in core. So you all know about our moment in core, and that's where we take an opportunity to highlight a portion of our core ideology. With Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, we have a core ideology that encompasses 3 areas. One is it's our core goal, or we call it our big, hairy, audacious goal, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. Our core mission, as well as our 5 core values. So today we're going to spend a little bit of time just talking about our core goal, what we are wanting to achieve. So as a real estate firm, our biggest plateau our biggest mountain that we're going after at this moment is to be the #1 real estate company in the state in production and profitability. So that is what that is the thing that drives everything that we do as an organization. It is to be the #1 real estate company in the state. And we know what that requires because we know the companies that already sit at that place. So Martha Turner, Sotheby's, if we were just going to try to get out of the Houston Metroplex, then that's the company that we need. And in 2019 numbers, these are the most recent numbers that I have, that will require $259 million worth of production for us to just be the #1 in the Metroplex, right? Let alone #1 in the state, which is what we're gunning for. And to accomplish that feat, Keller Williams Realty Arlington I think that's the former name. Now they're called Go Management, but they're still with Keller Williams. It's I guess a conglomerate of about 14 Keller Williams offices, about 4,800 agents. They did close to $10 billion. That's with a B. $10 billion worth of production. They are the #1 real estate firm in the state right now in production. Now, do I know about profitability? I don't know, because I would have to look at their books, but I don't have access to their books. But what we do know from a production standpoint, this is where these companies are, and this is where we would have to be if we are going to beat them, right? So that is our core goal. That is what keeps us up at night. That is what we're chasing after. That's what gives us that spunk to get out of the bed every day and to go to work. It's to reach this goal and accomplish this goal. So that is our moment of core. Now, as we finish up our moment of core, we always go into how the company has performed and welcoming new people into the organization. So, we've really been working to recruit and grow through agent count. So we have brought on some new agents. I absolutely want to welcome them. Ms. LaTanya Falls. She's actually been with us a number of occasions. So what I told her when I was signing her up again this time was, look, third time's the charm, girl. We're going to get this thing right. So we are excited about having LaTanya back with us. Also, Donovan Campbell. We signed him up. He's coming in under our transaction fee plan. So I know he's going to have some great things for him as well. So we absolutely want to welcome him. Xavier Mouton, he's coming in as a new affiliate. He's attempted to take the real estate exam a couple of times. He hasn't quite passed it yet. But this time, now that he's in the right environment, which is our environment, our affiliate program, now that he's a part of that, I'm more than certain that I'll have him ready. But when he goes in there, he's going to pass it. Because that's what we do. People that come out of our affiliate program, they one and done, baby. They pass it on the first go round. Right now, I'm 3-0. And they ain't going to mess my numbers up. So now we know he's ready. When he's ready to get there, that's what I told him when I was sitting with him last week. Brother, when you ready, I'm certain you're going to pass it. We're going to have you there. So we definitely want to welcome Xavier Mouton here as well. Speaking of affiliates passing their exam and becoming licensed, want to give a shout out to Mr. Maurice Lott through our affiliate program. He's one of that 3 that went, knocked it out first go round. He passed it on February 26th. So absolutely want to congratulate Maurice. Excited. We got him set up for orientation next week, and we are going to get this thing moving. So congratulations, Maurice, for doing that. As far as production, let's see. We had somebody else come on. Let me see who else come on. I'll be wanting to know who on here. Oh, there go Mr. Donovan. So you just missed your welcome, brother, man. I just welcomed you. So that's Donovan Campbell, who looks like he just logged on. So we were just saying welcome, Donovan, welcome to the family, and just wanted to give you a shout out for signing on with us. Okay, as far as production for this week, we didn't have any new production, so we're still at where we were last week. Nothing's changed, no numbers changed, and right now it looks like Chica has that #1 spot. So congratulations, Chica. Let's keep it going. Chica's #1, Roy is #2, holding it down for the fellas, and Margaret is #3. So congratulations, everybody. Let's keep getting stuff in the pipeline, right? And if you don't have anything in the pipeline, then let's get together. Let's get this coaching moving. Let's put you in a position to where you can get highlighted every week. In addition to the Create Your New Life, we're going to start putting this link in the group messaging. So everybody's going to get to see it. What we're doing on a weekly basis. Now remember, it's the top 3 producing agents. The reason we do it that way is because it's not about what you close. So these numbers are not based on who has closed the most production. These numbers are who has the most production in pipeline at this moment, because that's what I care about on a regular basis. Who's doing it every single day? Who keeps putting deals in the fire? Because that's how you have the quality of life that everybody's going after, is having consistent deals in the fire. So it doesn't matter. Once it's closed, that's old news. We need some new news. So congratulations to everybody that's on the board, as well as that's a part of the top 3 producing. All right, so let's jump into our listing showcase. You know, sometimes I do, sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't, but we do have a listing this week from one of our agents that I want to showcase. I texted him. I was hoping that he could be on to kind of speak about his own listing, but it looks like he wasn't able to join us today. So I'll have to do the heavy lifting for him. But it's our agent, Ricardo Davis. You know, he is one of our agents, also one half of the host of the Prime Real Estate Network, which is our podcast that's sponsored by Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm as well. He's on the other side, or he's in the captain seat. And Larry W. Brooks, co-founder of Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, is in the co-captain seat. That's a show that they do every week. So I give them a shameless plug on our Create Your New Life. But so Ricardo Davis has this property at 1610 City Nights Way. Matter of fact, he did a open house for it over the weekend. He said he had about, between the 2 days, he had about 12 people attend. So, and of those 12 people, he got some good traction with some individuals. Right now, he has about 4 of them that are in the process of getting pre-approved to see if they can buy this house. But here's the property. Looks like it's a beautiful 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. Looks like it's, like I said, that City Park. I think the City Park area is a great place to have a property because of where that, because of the accessibility that you have to the major thoroughfares in the city, right? So, you know, if you're not familiar with City Park, it is in between 288, Highway 288 South, and Alameda is right in between there. It's a master plan community that is right in between those 2 thoroughfares. And so what it does is it allows you accessibility to 288, which will take you north and south, as well as the Beltway, which will take you east and west, and then the Beltway will connect you to 45, or 610, the Loop, which also takes you east and west and will connect you to 45. So that's why I believe City Park and that location is a phenomenal location to be. It's close to the Galleria, it's close to the Texas Medical Center, it's close to the NRG, it's close to downtown. Like, it's just real easy to get to stuff because of the accessibility. And you know what they say about real estate, right? Location, 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 all right? So, again, it's a 4-bedroom home. Let's check out the pictures. They're only asking $254, 1,700 square foot house built 3 years ago in 2017. And let's check this bad boy out. Looks like they got a custom, man, look at that sign. Woo, Brooks & Davis. But it looks like they have a custom garage. That's pretty nice. With it being 3 years old, you know, it hasn't had much wear and tear. So I'm assuming that's your living area. Been staged really, really well. Pictures are extremely clean, bright. Looks really, really nice. That's the living room. So we see the kitchen, granite countertops. It's like the dining area. It's your cabinets. So it's a separate tub and shower. That's your laundry. And you got granite in the laundry. That's interesting. That's the bedroom. 1 bedroom. Always, because that's the 2nd bedroom. So it's a nice sized bed. So you can see as far as the size of the rooms, what you get. That's the bathroom. That's their workout room. It's pretty cool. And I'm assuming it's the 4th bedroom. So it's 4 bedrooms. And then he just give us some amenities. That's great. Good job, Rick. Give us some shots of City Oaks and some of the amenities that are in that area. Right? So let's help Rick get this thing sold. That's what it's about, right? So he's only asking $254,000. It's been on the market 21 days. So be the first to get it. 2017 was the year built. Go to HAR, type the address in there, 1610 City Knights Way. You'll get all the information that you need to put in front of your buyer who's looking for a great location on the south side of Houston that gives them accessibility to all of these major thoroughfares that I just mentioned earlier. So let's help Rick get his listing sold at 1610 City Knights Way. All right. So the next thing that I want to do is that we always go into a little bit of our proprietary programming, right? So, you know, one of the things that we are certain about that there's a number of programs that we have access to that we're able to present to our agents to put them in the best situation. Now, this is the one that I believe is more important than any of the others. There go Latanya. What's going on, Latanya? You missed my shout out. I just shouted you out. How you doing? I was like, welcome to the family. Or welcome back to the family, as we should say. So we got Latanya. Latanya Falls is back on board with us. So welcome. All right. So I'm talking about our proprietary programming, right? The things that we offer and we feel like are that we feel like put us above other brokerage firms. Okay. But like I was saying, so that's our mural. I like to showcase that on a continual basis. But today I'm going to talk about the thing that I believe is the most important. Now, it wasn't voted most important by the agents because we talked about that one last week. But this one right here, it is way up there. I think it came in at 2nd or 3rd. So they understand that it's important. But for me, it would be number 1 on my list for them as the broker. All right. So what I want to talk about today is the one-on-one coaching that's included, right? That's the proprietary programming that I'm going to speak about. And the reason I'm going to, so originally this concept of one-on-one coaching came from the GAT meeting. So the GAT meeting, it was a uppercase G, lowercase y, uppercase A, uppercase T. And it stood for Get Your Ass on Track meeting. That was the GAT meeting. So the idea was when a new agent came into the firm, how could we best get them going? Because we know once you get into this business, you get licensed, then you don't, the clock is ticking, right? Because you got expenses, HAR, Trek, Brooks and Davis, you got expenses. So the clock is ticking. So because of that, we had these GAT meetings that was a part of our process to help get you up to speed. So you got to go through orientation, get oriented with all the things you have access to, and then you would sit with me. So that was kind of like the beginnings of us moving into being more formal with or creating a more formalized process around the one-on-one coaching. All right. So now that it's morphed into this coaching one-on-one phenomenon, now that we're pushing, I want to give you an idea of what that really is, what the one-on-one coaching is really about. So the idea of the premise is once a week, so every 7 days, you connect with me 30 minutes, and we begin going through this journey of dealing with these 2 models that have been designed. So originally, the Realtor Success Funnel was the model that we utilized in my training, in my development, in my coaching. It was this model right here, right? And now that I have a better understanding of success, what I found is that 80% of success is not the mechanics, which is what this funnel was, or what this talks about. It's the mechanics of doing a real estate transaction or the mechanics of building a real estate business. 80% of it is not mechanics. 80% of success is psychological. So as I'm coaching and I'm working with people, it's not connecting or it's not working. And the reason we know it's not working is because the production's not there. They're not producing. Like, I know the stuff works because I did it, but it's not, they're not grasping it. I couldn't figure it out. Well, as I've gone through this coaching journey and as I've matured and as I've realized, again, 80% is psychological, then before we can begin dealing with the mechanics, which is the Realtor Success Funnel, there had to be a psychological component that was created for us to deal with first. And then as we dealt with the psychological component and we got past that, then we could layer on top of it the mechanics. Because then at that point, there's glue and the mechanics will stick. And then that's when you see the massive execution. So we had to revamp it. So what our one-on-one coaching consists of in the beginning is dealing with this psychological success map, right? So this is just, it's real basic. It ain't as colorful and bright and don't have all the bells and whistles of the success funnel, but it's real basic because at this point it's about the substance of it. In reality, the psychological success map is a part of the blue square element of the Realtor Success Funnel. The blue square element, in addition to tools such as HAR or SuperKey, it always contained an element of mindset, making sure that you had the right mindset before you begin trying to build this type of business, right? Well, what we realized was that we had to pull out the mindset part and we had to flesh it out and make it bigger than what we had currently made it. So that's how this psychological success map was formed. So to make a long story short, I'm going to go briefly through the different layers of the success map. The first, everybody starts at the bottom. In any level of coaching, they all start at the bottom. And the reason I put them at the bottom is because until you deal with this first layer, which is the who are you, then you haven't even begun to put yourself on any track of success. So everybody starts at when will you start until we begin dealing with the who are you. So there are a couple of tools that we utilize in the coaching to deal with the area of who are you. One of them is a DISC profile. So DISC, if you're familiar with that, is personality style. You know, before you can begin executing in a major way, you got to understand who are you? Like, why do you make the decisions that you make? Why do you do the things or don't do the things that you do? You know, why are you not able to connect on, hey, I know this is important, my business is important, making phone calls or doing these mechanics is important, but for whatever reason, I'm not doing it and I don't quite understand why. Well, a lot of it has to do with you first understanding who are you, who is your makeup, and if you're literally trying to force yourself to be something that you're not, that you haven't been designed to be. So that first layer is dealing with the who are you, right? We use DISC profiles. We also use an interview called Model of the World. We use that. Once you identify who you are, then we deal with the what do you want, when do you want it. That's the second layer. And the way we deal with that, you know, there's a lot of people out here that they have goals they're trying to achieve. They have success that they're trying to achieve, but they haven't identified any goals. That's the what do you want. They haven't really determined what it is specifically that they want to go after. So that's what we deal with that at that layer. And then even if they have determined what they want, they haven't put a hard deadline on it. So because of that, it's easy to take their foot off the gas, to stop driving. So putting a hard deadline is key. So we deal with that. We have tools, again, that we utilize. One of them is called the life wheel, where it has 8 areas that we pull out and we gauge your level of satisfaction. We look at that, and then we also identify a goal of 6 months. We're going to put a hard deadline that we're going to go after, and we call it a stretch goal. And the reason we call it a stretch goal is because for you to achieve it, you're going to have to stretch who you are to accomplish it. You're going to have to become a better, higher version of yourself for you to be able to achieve that goal. But based on the exercises that we utilize in this area, the stretch goal is going to be designed around what you've already said is the most important thing to you, right? So that's what's going to come out of there. So once we deal with that, we have our stretch goal, then we're going to get to the third layer, which is why do you want it and how will you get it, right? So we always hear about, look, you got to have a big enough why. Your why has to be big enough. You're going to be successful, you have to be driven by a big why. But you can hear, it's one thing to hear that, and then it's another thing to understand it, right? So to internalize it, to get it inside of your physiology. So in that layer is where we really dig in and create that emotional fuel that you're going to use to drive you to being able to accomplish what you said that you want to set off to accomplish. So we do that in this level, right? And in addition, when we come through that level, the how will you get it, you will have an actual map, game plan, and effective. Matter of fact, it's going to be the most effective game plan of execution that you've probably ever seen before in your life, right? It's efficient. It provides a level of clarity that every day you'll know what you need to be literally executing on every single day to move you forward to achieving what you set out to achieve over the next 6 months. So that layer, you're going to have a physical game plan, a physical map to execute on a daily basis, right? And so now once we get through that layer, then we get to the top of the pyramid, which is where most of the people, most of the discrepancies is able to be identified. It's through the lack of consistency, right? So we see it as, well, I can't be consistent in this area, so it's because I'm not disciplined or I have a lack of self-discipline. When in reality, if we haven't dealt with these other layers under here, that's more than likely what's driving why you don't consistently drive towards achieving something something successful, right? You either don't have a clear understanding of who you are, so there's some disconnects coming in that you're not even aware of. You're in this level of unawareness of some internal things that are causing conflict. You haven't fleshed those out, either that or you haven't even clearly defined what it is specific that you want. Yeah, I want to be a realtor, or yeah, I want to be a business owner, and yeah, I want to be successful, but you don't have any level of clarity of what that looks like or being specific. You haven't done that, or again, you haven't identified a hard deadline. So you're not driving at 157 miles an hour. You're just kind of coasting through because you don't have anything that's anywhere to get to. You don't have a destination. So you don't have a hard deadline. You don't have enough emotional fuel. You don't have a big enough why like people talk about it. Or you don't have a true game plan, true strategies or tactics that you can execute to help you achieve the goal that you've defined. So if you don't have any of that stuff, then it's no way you could be consistent in your execution. So that's why we had to deal with this part of it first, get you to a point of consistency before we can layer the mechanics on top of it, right? So now as our agents go through that process, that's when they're able to start having massive results and massive returns. So this is, like I said, in my opinion, is the most important or the biggest thing that we have to offer as a brokerage firm to our commission split plan agents. This is the most important thing. Now, before today, those were the only people that had access to this level of coaching. Before today. I'm going to say it again. Before today, our commission split agents that were part of that plan were the only people that had access to this level of coaching, one-on-one coaching. It was included in their package. So if you are a commission split plan agent, Valerie, who else we got on here? Latanya, you should be taking advantage of the coaching. So I'm looking for both of y'all to schedule y'all coaching sessions. All right. But now, if you're a transaction fee agent, because before the transaction fee agents didn't have access to it, or if you ain't even connected to Brooks and Davis, you wanted a 2 million realtors in the United States, or if you're one of the million small business owners in the United States or the world, then after today, or starting today, I'll say that, starting today, you will now have access to this kind of coaching, because today is the official launch date of my realtor and business coaching platform. So I talk a lot, and I know, and my commission split agents, they hear me say it. Like, you know, I tell them, like, man, the kind of coaching that you're getting, man, it's, you know, there are other people out here that'll pay top dollar for this thing, right? They'll pay for this coaching. And in reality, I feel so strongly about it that it was time to launch it. Before, I would use the coaching as a way to recruit and encourage agents to become a part of Brooks and Davis. But people have their reasons for why they want to stay where they are. They have their reasons for why they want to stay with whatever brokerage that they're with. So that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to access something very valuable that we have to offer. Because there were many requests for realtors to not join Brooks and Davis, but still for me to coach them. There were many requests. And before it was like, look, you got to be a real Brooks and Davis agent, period. But, you know, at some time, you got to open it up. So now they do have access, right? Today is the official launch date. This is the website. You can go to it. On the website, the proof is in the pudding as far as the services. Obviously, the best package, right? So there's a package for realtors and business owners. So it's not just for realtors, also for business owners. But as you can see, if they do a month to month, it's $399, right? If they want a 6 month, it's almost $2,000 is the package, right? If you're a transaction fee agent, you get a discount, right? So you can see they get discounts on the same packages. Instead of paying $399, our transaction fee agents, part of Brooks and Davis, only pay $215 for 4 sessions. And then theirs is a little less. No, I think that's different. So their package is less than $1,914. So they'll get less if they go with that one. But at the end of the day, this is the best one, right? It's included. The best one is for our Brooks and Davis commission agents. It's included. So I even had to put it on the website so it will be clear that it's the exact same product that others are going to be paying for starting today that our agents get at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. It is included. So I'm excited about this new journey that we're going on, that I'm going on as CEO and realtor and business coach. It's a little frightening, but I feel really, really, really good about what I have to offer to those that are not Brooks and Davis. Now, here's the caveat. If you're a Brooks and Davis agent, whether you are commission split, whether you are transaction fee, I have unlimited spots as far as coaching for those Brooks and Davis agents. Now, if you are not a Brooks and Davis agent, you're a realtor, if you are a business owner, I'm only opening 6 slots, just 6, because I do not want to take away from my number one priority, which is my Brooks and Davis family. I do not want to do that. So I'm only offering 6 slots. And once they're gone, they are gone. Because I got to make sure that I'm accessible and I'm available for those that are part of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. But today is the official launch day. You heard it first on Create Your New Life. Those that was here live, Valerie, Latanya, Donovan, y'all heard it first. And maybe Laquana, who's in my house. Y'all heard it first. We're launching that coaching today. So Michael G. Davis, Realtor plus Business Coaching. All right, so I went a little long on that. That means We'll probably go a little long, maybe about 15 minutes as far as our training, but let's go ahead and jump into it and let's get this thing out of the way. All right, so we are doing this is the second part of our 11-part series of around never split the difference, around negotiating and negotiation techniques, right? I truly believe as you become more effective in negotiating, you will make more money in real estate. You and not just in real estate, you'll have more success in multiple areas of your life. And that's kind of what we talked about last week. So today we're going to be looking at chapter 2. So chapter 2, he talks about being a mirror, which is one of the techniques. Remember, we're talking about psychological strategies and techniques, and mirroring is one of the techniques that he goes into in chapter 2. This is Chris Voss, who I'm talking about. And using it to establish trust, establish rapport. It's impossible. I'm bold enough to say that it's impossible to influence people in a direction that you want them to go without building or establishing rapport or trust with those individuals. It's impossible to do it, right? So that's why he speaks about this as a very important part. Now, as you go into a negotiation, Chris says you got to engage the process with a mindset of discovery, right? One of the things that you'll see Chris talk about on some of the other negotiation books that I'm currently reading, you can't go into it with the mind frame of you're going to close them. Now, I know that's anti our industry because our industry teaches us to always be closing. That's what it teaches us. Not just real estate, business, sales, period. Always be closing. The problem is that people can feel when that's what's happening. And people don't like to be sold. They'll buy. People like to buy, but they don't like to be sold, right? So going in with a mindset of always be closing, it makes it uncomfortable for people. So when you first go into it, you shouldn't go into it with that mind frame. What you should go into it with is discovery. The goal is to extract and observe information. You want to discover something. So, and that's I'm not just talking about a negotiation between one agent, you're representing a client, they're representing a client, and y'all are negotiating once together. Yeah, you want to do it from that perspective as well. But you going on a listing appointment, that's a negotiation. You going having a buyer's consultation, that's a negotiation. You going to choose a broker, that's a negotiation, or a broker choosing an agent. So there are multiple arenas that you can utilize this. Whichever one, like last week we talked about, you got to make sure that you're prepared. And a part of the preparing process when going into the negotiation is going into it with the mindset of wanting to extract and observe as much information from the other side as possible. Chris talks about good negotiators going in knowing that there have to be surprises. When you go into it, you have to understand that there are unknowns that you are going to have to, or that exists, right? So he says good negotiators go in there and they're ready for possible surprises. But what he also says is that great negotiators, they aim to use their skills to not only know the surprises are there and be ready when they present themselves, they go into it with utilizing their skills to reveal the surprises, to bring the surprises to the forefront, is what he talks about, right? And because at the end of the day, each new psychological insight that you're able to get from the counterpart, you will be able to utilize that at some point to help get you to whatever direction that you want. So you got to engage with that mindset of discovery. That's got to be your goal when first getting into it, is getting information. So that's one of the first strategies when it comes to negotiating from that space. Going into it with a mindset of, I'm just here to discover, I'm here to ask questions, I'm here to get information, I'm here to find out about what I can find out about it, right? So techniques, and this is something that I picked up as well, is that Chris talked about when they were doing hostage negotiators, that it was never just one person, that they would always have teams. They had a team concept. So they had multiple people listening. right? And the thinking behind it was that when you have an extra set of ears, there's information that may be picked up. Well, prior to this study on negotiation and things that I began to do, that's what I would do. I would negotiate. It would just be me. And most of you all are doing the same thing. When you all are negotiating, it's just you. You're the only person there. Now, another reason why it's a great idea to have more people. So now when I go on a negotiation, if we're negotiating with a client, most of the time our agents, especially if they're pulling me into it, it's at least 2 people. It's me and the other agent, right? But if it's with the C-Squad, our corporate team, you may have up to 4 people in the room, and we're all listening to what the counterpart is saying, especially when it's around one of the corporate team or the C-Squad's listens. So the idea around that is that it's difficult for us to listen well, right? We try to pride ourselves on being good listeners. I'm a good listener. I'm listening, right? But one of the things that I've really come to terms with the fact that most people do not listen. Like we're not good at listening, because we believe that it's an innate ability that we have to listen, or we believe if we heard somebody say something, that we're listening. It's more of a passive approach. But the reality is that listening, if you're not active in your listening, then you're not good at it, period. One of the things Chris points out, he says, is that we engage in selective listening. The reason that it doesn't work is that we tend to hear only what we want to hear, right? And it's a true psychological phenomenon that's been studied. We hear what we want to hear. Our minds are acting on a bias for consistency rather than truth. Like, our minds is not about truth. It's about consistency. Certainty is more important than the truth in reality. So one of the human basic needs is certainty, things being consistent, right? That makes us comfortable. So a lot of times we're not listening for truth. We're listening for a sense of consistency. So that's the way that most people approach negotiations. We're so preoccupied with arguments that support your position that you're unable to listen to attentively. At the end of the day, you're just listening for something that proves what you already believe to be the truth. And then you take that, and then that's what you build your case off of, right? Also, a lot of times when we're going into negotiations, we have voices in our head that are overwhelming us. So when the other person is talking, we're still not listening to them. We're listening to these voices. And when they're not talking, and so either you're talking, right? Or when you're not talking, you're listening to the voices in your head, preparing your argument, which still is lining up with what you already think you believe. So again, we're not listening. We're trying to make our argument. So now, another technique that we have to talk about, in addition to listening, in addition to going in with the mindset of discovery, is we have to quiet the voice in our head. When we're dealing with a negotiation, when we're going to try to pick up a new client, when we're looking to encourage, or when we're looking to influence somebody to do something that we want them to do, right? Like hire us. You got to quiet the voice in your head as well as the voice in their head. And the way you do that is you make your sole and all-encompassing focus the other person. So that goes right in line with you go into it with the mindset of discovery. When you get in front of the counterpart, you reinforced it by saying, all I'm going to do is focus on you and what you have to say, right? And Chris doesn't necessarily say it, but Jim Camp says it in his book. You should be taking notes. The easiest way to force you to do that, to pay attention to somebody, is to get you a pen and paper and be taking notes, because that forces you to listen and to pay attention when you're taking notes. And also what it does is it puts them in a more comfortable space, because they see that you care enough to want to take notes and write things down. So it helps both ways, right? So another tool is going into it with the sole and encompassing focus that you're going to be focused on them, right? Because at the end of the day, your goal, what should be your goal, is to identify what the counterpart actually needs, right? You're looking for their needs. See, it's easy for people to give you what they want. It's very challenging for them to give you what they need. So, but they tell you without knowing that they're saying it. So you got to catch up. You got to pick up on it. And the only way you can do that is become a great listener. So because you're listening for their emotional needs, their monetary needs, any need, that's what you're looking for. And for you to get them to give that information to you, you have to make them feel safe enough to talk and talk and talk more about what they want. So it's very important, it's very key. So at the end of the day, it all begins with listening. Any negotiation, every negotiation begins with you first listening, right? Making it about the other person and validating their emotions, as well as creating enough trust and safety for the real conversation to begin. That's what Chris says. That enough trust and enough safety has to be in place for the real conversation to begin, for them to really dig into and expose to you what their true needs are. They got to be in a safe place. It's very important. All right. Another tool that comes out in this chapter is about how fast we move the negotiation. And look, I used to be guilty of this as well. It's still a little bit uncomfortable for me as well when I'm in a negotiation, feeling like we got to get to close, right? We talked about that last week. The book that was written, Getting to Yes. That's what kind of created this new philosophy of negotiating, getting to yes, right? The need that we feel, the need that we feel to have to get to the close as soon as possible. But the reality is that going too fast is really one of the mistakes that all negotiators are prone to making, is moving too fast. Because if we're too much in a hurry, if you follow the first step that we talked about, which is making it about the other person, then just like when somebody is moving too fast for you, you feel uncomfortable. If you're moving too fast, the counterpart is going to feel uncomfortable, right? They're going to feel like they're not being heard. And then at that point, you risk undermining the rapport and the trust that you may have already built. You risk undermining that. And there's plenty of research that validates that time is one of the most important tools for a negotiator. And when you slow the process down, you also calm it down, right? The worst thing that you can have in a negotiation is people's emotions all over the place. For you to get the kind of effects that the kind of results that you want out of your negotiation, you got to make sure that the atmosphere is calm. It's got to be that. So going too fast aggravates that atmosphere. So that's why slowing it down is another technique or strategy that you got to become proficient with if you're going to be effective. One of the voices that he talks about, he says there are 3 voices that you use. One of them is the late night DJ voice. And what he's saying with the late night FM DJ voice is, if you ever listen to late night radio, notice how that guy's voice is always deep, soft, slow, and reassuring. Just make you calm, baby. You know, listening to these goldie oldies of what they say, the quiet storm. You know, that's that low voice. That voice puts you in a relaxed state. And sometimes you have to access that voice to get people in the right state so they can do what needs to be done. You know, he also talks about making sure that we don't get caught up too much on trying to just say the right thing. It's not, especially with negotiations, like, again, we talked about this last week about the psychological tactics and strategies, and that negotiation is really about capitalizing off of the emotional regime that's already been created, that society has already created. So with that being the case, you got to understand that communication, and you know this, is more than the words, right? Matter of fact, the words holds the least amount of weight when it comes to true communication, right? I mean, because you have your nonverbals, right? you have the meanings that people tell themselves around it. So, you have your tones, like all of those things matter. So how you present it, again, in a negotiation, how you present it is very key. Okay? So with that being said, that's why verbal communication and your voice is so powerful, because you can literally use your voice to intentionally reach into someone's brain and flip an emotional switch based on your tone, right? That's why it's so powerful. You can actually switch it from distrusting to trusting, from nervous to calm. I remember I was hearing a story with Tony Robbins, and he was talking about Mikhail Gorbachev with the USSR and Ronald Reagan during the Cold War and the big arms race, and there was so much tension, but they were able to sign a treaty and get that wall taken down, and Mikhail Gorbachev was recounting it, and I'm not going to go into the whole conversation, but it ended with him saying the reason that they were able to do that was because he had to stop looking at Ronald Reagan as the devil and America as the devil, and USSR had to stop looking at, and America had to stop looking at him and the USSR as the devil. But the only way that they was able to get there was because it was a really intensified conversation. Ronald Reagan stood up, put his hand out there, and said, "Let's start over. Hi, my name's Ron. What's yours?" And because of that, breaking that pattern is what got past everything. That tone and that action alone is, in essence, probably saved the world from going into World War III. So that's how powerful that nonverbal communication or tone is to negotiation. So again, he said there are 3 voice tones: the late night FM DJ voice, the positive playful voice, which is the one that you're more than likely going to be in most instances. Whenever you go into a negotiation, and again, I'm even talking about a negotiation where you're trying to get your client something, you're representing somebody else. Even when you're going into that kind of negotiation, you got to be going into it with the same relax, with the same playful persona, because again, you got to create that calm atmosphere if you're going to put your client in the best situation to get the best results that are available to them. So I'm even talking about it from that perspective, that the positive playful voice is the voice that you're more than likely going to be in. And then the third one is the direct or assertive voice. And that's the one that you're going to use the least, because that's the one that puts people in the defense if not used correctly. It'll either, if you're in essence signaling a dominance onto your counterpart, and that's either going to put them into an aggressive or passively aggressive pushback, because nobody likes to be controlled. So that's the direct or assertive voice is the one that you're going to use the least, right? Most of the time, it's the positive, playful voice. It's the voice of an easygoing, good-natured person. Like your attitude is light and encouraging. It's like, hey, look, man, everything's going to be great. We're going to get through this. We're going to have a blast working together. Like, that's the kind of voice, that's the kind of person that you got to bring to the table if you're going to get the kind of results that you want. All right, so finally, mirroring is the last tool that he talks about in this particular session, right? And it's also called some crazy word, isopraxion. I guess that's the scientific word for it, but it's called mirroring. And mirroring essentially is imitation. It's you're imitating what the counterpart is doing. It's another neurobehavior humans and other animals display in which we copy each other to comfort each other. So mirroring, isopraxion, imitation, those things make us feel more relatable, makes us feel more comfortable. It can be done with speech patterns, body language, vocabulary, tempo, and tone of voice. It's generally an unconscious behavior. We are rarely aware of it when it's happening. So it's even one of those things that you're already doing. You just don't even know you're doing it, right? If it's somebody that you love, you feel like y'all really vibe, y'all like a best friend, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, whoever. If you sit back and think about it, you all are already probably mirroring one another and y'all don't even realize it, right? And it contributes to how y'all feel about one another, right? It's a sign that people are bonding, that they're in sync and establishing a kind of rapport that leads to trust, right? That's why it's a great strategy. It's a tool. And like I said, you're already doing it, so it's not manipulative. What we're saying is understand how to use it to get the kind of impact that you want out of an engagement is what we're saying, right? So the mirroring technique is most often associated with nonverbal communication, because I remember when I was bringing it up, me and Margaret and I were having a conversation about mirroring, and the first place that she went to was, this was last week, she went to copying my hand gestures, or copying where I was moving my head or how I was sitting. I mean, that's how I was exposed to it originally when it came to mirroring. But what Chris is talking about, because in a negotiation, you're not in front of the person most of the time. And the kind of negotiations that he was talking about, hostile, kidnapping negotiations, that kind of stuff, you're most of the time over the phone. So you can't see what the person's doing. So the mirror that he's talking about focuses on the words. That's it. Not the body language, not the accent, not the tone, just the words. He says a mirror is when you repeat the last 3 words or the critical 1 to 3 words of what someone has just said. By repeating back what people say, you trigger this mirroring instinct, and your counterpart will inevitably elaborate on what was just said and sustain the process of connecting. So it kind of works like this. If one of my little kids come home and they say, you know what, I had a great day, and because I had a great day, Dad, I think you should buy me some ice cream. Buy me some ice cream, Dad. A mirror would be, buy you some ice cream, right? So then by saying, buy you some ice cream, or buy you some ice cream, naturally, that child is going to go into a further explanation of why I should buy some ice cream. That could be like, yeah, Dad, buy me some ice cream, I got an A, blah, 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 or buy me some ice cream, I listened to my teacher, or whatever, right? By just saying those 3 words, not saying, why should I buy you some ice cream? Because the thing about why, and we'll look at that in other aspects, why, the word why puts people on defense. They feel like, I mean, literally, you're asking them to defend themselves by saying why. So you never want people to be in a defensive mode. So you don't say, why should I buy you some ice cream? I say, buy you some ice cream. And it's going to innately and naturally, they're going to flow into giving you a further explanation. Watch. Now that I've said it, you're going to be more conscious of it. Watch. And you're going to see what I'm talking about makes sense, because they're going to do it. Now, there have been times, there are going to be certain times when you do it and they just repeat back what you said to them. But most of the time, and I'm like 95% of the time, it's going to happen just the way I described it. You're going to say the last 3 words or the most important words in the sentence. You're going to say that, just that, and they're going to elaborate. And remember, we're in self-discovery mode. So the more information that you're able to get, the better position that it puts you in, right? So he ends chapter 2 with just a quick recap of when in a confrontation, how to get your way without the confrontation, right? So, you know, it says if you take a pit bull approach with another pit bull, you generally end up with a messy scene and lots of bruised feelings and resentment. So if somebody is all flared up, they angry, pissed off to the highest festivity, they ready to battle, then the way to get your way and not actually have to confront them is 4 simple steps. First, he says use the late night FM DJ voice, because remember, it's going to calm the situation down when you calm your voice, right? And if I had to add a step, I would say, first, before you even do anything, you need to get your emotions in check. You need to make sure that you bring yourself to a place to where you can do this. Because if not, if you all over the place emotionally and you get mad and angry and you all swelled up, you're not going to be able to do this. Matter of fact, you ain't even going to remember it. it ain't gonna be on the top of your mind. So the first thing you need to think about is, let me control myself. Once that happens, then to de-escalate, use the late night FM DJ voice. Start with I'm sorry, right? And I'm not saying I'm sorry, you're apologizing. You start with I'm sorry, I'm not understanding why you're so angry. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding how we got here. I'm sorry, I'm blah, 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 right? So that's the kind of I'm sorry he's talking about. Then you mirror. When they respond, take those last 3 words, you repeat them. And then the fourth one is you be quiet, right? At least 4 seconds so you can let the mirror work. Let the mirror work its magic on the counterpart. So you be quiet. Like once you mirror them, like I said, buy you some ice cream, you got to be quiet 4 seconds. Because remember, the point is to get them to elaborate and them to talk. And then he puts a 5th one on there. He says repeat. So, you know, that's the system that you do, that you submit, because at the end of the day, mirrors should be, please help me understand. Like they should be said in such a way, hey, Dad, you need to buy me some ice cream. Buy you some ice cream? It's like I'm saying, please help me understand. And then they elaborate. Okay. Again, you got to use the mirror versus saying, why do you want that? Or what do you mean by that? I'm pretty sure that response is going to incite some level of defensiveness. So the mirror will get you the clarity while signaling respect and concern for what the other person is saying. So it's about how they feel, right? I'm glad that he ended with this. At the end of the day, and it was for me, mirroring will make you feel awkward. Awkward as heck is what he says when you first try it. So it is going to make you feel awkward. That's the only hard part about it, but the technique takes a little practice. And once you get the hang of it, then it'll become a lot easier for you, right? So that's how he ends up chapter 2. Another thing that I like about the book is that each chapter has key lessons. So he takes snapshots of what the entire chapter was about, and then he gives us bullet points or key lessons at the back of each chapter. So I think that's great for study, right? At the end of the day, he sums it all up by saying this: the language of negotiation is primarily a language of conversation and rapport, right? A way of quickly establishing relationships and getting people to talk and think together. So that's the language of negotiation. It's not a battle. It's not a confrontation. It's not a, I'm going to get my way. I'm going to win. You going to lose. Hell, it ain't even a win. It ain't a, I'm going to win. You going to win. At the end of the day, it's not about winning, right? That was something I had to learn. That's something that Jim Camp talks about in his book. In this one right here. Boom, this is the one I just finished. Start with no. He says it. He talks about win-win. And win-win is an ineffective, often disastrous strategy. That's what he says. While win-win is an ineffective, often disastrous strategy. So it ain't even about win-win. The language of negotiation is about getting people to talk and think together. That's what it's about. And then at some point, we create an outcome. That's it, all right? So with that being said, looks like that's all I got for you all today. Next week, we're going to be looking at the next tactic and strategy, and that one is going to allow you to create trust, which is crucial to an effective negotiation, is the next tactic that we're going to look at when we look at chapter 3 in the book. All right? I highly encourage you. I'm not able to do any coaching, but if anybody needs any specific coaching right now, because I got to get back to the office, our coaching and training center. Got to get back to that because I got a meeting at 2:30. If anybody needs anything specific, you all know you have my phone number, so you can call me and we can talk through it. Or you got the link, schedule your coaching session, and let's get that going. All right? With that being said, let me end it with a couple of quick recaps before we shut it down. Get your 1 hour of CE credit. So now, again, this isn't just for our commission split agents. It's for any Brooks & Davis agent. If they log on, if they do these 4 things, then you get an hour of continuing education credit to be applied to your elective for when you're renewing your license, right? You know, we got to renew them every 2 years. So at least get all your elective credit out of the way by taking advantage of our Create Your New Lives once a week. All right, so we have that dynamic. Again, here's the link. Maybe you're not a Brooks & Davis agent and you want to hear more about what we have to offer. The one-on-one coaching being included was something that really spoke to you, or anything else that we've talked about that spoke to you, and now you feel it's the time for us to for you to learn more, then I encourage you to schedule an online or in-person company introduction, and we can definitely make that happen. And also, if you are a Brooks & Davis agent and you haven't scheduled your coaching, let's go ahead. You can also use this link. This is the link that you use to schedule your coaching, right? So it's easy. All right. And then we want you to follow us on social media. We're on YouTube. I think YouTube is the best place to get the greatest feel for who we are as an organization. So highly encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page. But we send out multiple content on all of the other social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And it's different content, so it's not the same content on all of them, right? That, again, is great information. You're able to see the personal side of how we move, and just, again, get a feel for who we are as individuals, people, as well as an organization, right? So with that being said, we're going to shut this thing down for today. Like I said, if you guys, Valerie, Latanya, if you guys need to talk to me, just reach out to me on the phone. And I'll get you guys taken care of. I promise. All right, so let me turn my music up. Turn my music up in my headphones, dog. No, we are done. We went along, but we are done. Yes, we are. We had a great time today on our Create Your New Life. We talked about increasing the effectiveness as a negotiator using a couple of techniques and tools through the book, Never Split the Difference, right? We talked about our big, hairy, audacious goal, that big mountain that we're climbing, to be #1 in production and profitability in the state. Went into detail about our one-on-one coaching and what that means to be included in our brokerage firm for our commission split agents, as well as I launched my CEO coaching that's now available to other realtors, our transaction fee agents, other business owners. Today's the official day. Now that's open. And then we also looked at a beautiful home for sale in a great location. So with that being said, I'm your host, Michael G. Davis, CEO, broker, Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Thank you guys for coming in with us today. And we will see you next week. Looking to coach you into the cosmos. It's time to take off, baby. Y'all have a great one.